think it's a running joke now. You just have to acknowledge. Yeah, it's a running joke. Dun, 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 dun. Got to switch that over. Got to switch that over. Yes, yes. It's a running joke. It's a running joke. All right. Let's get set up here and let's get ready. And it's GCPR. We are here. What's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome. Come on in. In. This is TNathan, and you know what time it is. It is officially 10:02, so that means tonight I am mostly on time. You're listening to TNathan on Conversations with TNathan, and I don't care what you say. I'm going to take it as me being on time at 10:02. Greetings, salutations, everyone. How you doing? What's up, GCPR land? Yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We have a lot to talk about tonight. So let's get to it. Dun, 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 dun. I'm gonna start doing my own theme song. Yeah, I'm gonna sing to it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. How's everyone doing? Come on in. Come on in. Welcome. Welcome. I got you on YouTube. Jay. Jay over on YouTube. We got Penelope, Robert, just a girl. What's up? How you all doing? Welcome, welcome, come on in. I know last night we did the show on my main page and on the GCPR network, so there's not one literally up on my YouTube page for yesterday. We did the debate, and we're going to talk about all things that fell out for that. And I did a thing. Let me show you. Let me see who can guess what this thing is I did if I show you. Because all people know me. If you know me, you know I'm a voracious reader. And dun, dun, dun. So it should come as no surprise to you all. I spent a couple of hours today reading 165 pages. 165 pages of of Jack Smith's masterwork. Yes, this is a masterwork. The United States versus Donald Trump and his election subversion campaign. Um, as far as and January 6th indictment. It Jack Smith is amazing to me. I'm sorry. He just earned it today. Reading this 100, and I just finished the last 10 pages about a couple of minutes before I went on. Okay, 10 o'clock. That's why I was late. So I finished it. I just got it today. I usually read faster than that, but I'm blaming my bestie because I had to take a break and spend some time with my bestie. But yeah, this the document Jack Smith. This it's unsealed now, and I'll just give you some highlight pointers, right? Because he says that when he talks about Georgia and all, and we go down here to page at its core, the defendant's scheme, and the defendant in this case is Donald Trump. The defendant's scheme was a private criminal effort. In his capacity as a candidate, the defendant used deceit to target every stage of the electoral process, which throughout the Constitution, the ECA, and state laws included the state's notification to the federal government of the sections of their representatives. He just calls it what he is. He's a Supreme Court set the bar that they had to prove that what Jack Smith engaged with in order to go after Donald Trump, you couldn't go after him as a president in his official capacity. And Jack Smith pulled the best hold my beer I ever seen. Because he said, I'm not going after him as president. I'm going after him as private citizen running for reelection. He went after him as candidate Trump, not President Trump. I mean, every 106. And I'm going to tell you, you'll see in the document, you'll see CC1, CC6, P1, P15. Okay, CC is confidential informant. Those are the confidential informants. All right. numbered 1 to 65. And then you got person 1, person 2, person 3 that are also in there. And you can lead, it can show you who you should believe. I can make a good argument for several of the people I've ran through of who they are. Yes, good argument to be made. Um, but the source, confidential sources in here, they were everywhere. They were everywhere. I mean, it's so many parallels between the confidential sources and the it is a rat. And look, a lot of it is redacted, and it's still fire. Um, Jack Jack Smith is like he said, "Hold my beer." He's like, "Okay, Supreme Court say we can't go after him as president and presidential and all those things, right? Immunity and everything." But he said those same things don't apply to candidate Trump that apply to President Trump. Woo! He did it. And then to read some of the conversations that were had in the background that Trump was having with people in his orbit when they called and told him that Mike Pence was in the Capitol and the Capitol had been breached. And he basically said, "So what?" when they told him Mike Pence. I see. I'm gonna tell you. I understood some of why Mike Pence distanced himself from Trump, but I don't understand why he didn't distance himself more because Trump literally said when they told him about Mike Pence being in the Capitol and the rioters had breached the Capitol, he said, "So what?" Yeah, let that sink in. Let that sink in. And I could go through this document. I could spend hours just talking about the mystery of this in document today. It is massive. It is massive. But yeah, and we'll talk more about it as we go, and you can ask me questions about anything I think about it. But I also want to take some time to talk about um, JD Vance's performance last night and how that JD Vance's performance at let me get this understand. I don't believe JD Vance's performance moved the needle any on the election. I don't. You all wanted to see it. People wanted to see it. I don't believe it moved the needle any on the election. I don't think he did Donald Trump any favors, but I do think he solidified himself, which I think is also his goal as the future face of the MAGA movement. I do think that. I do think JD Vance. JD Vance tells the same number of lies Donald Trump tells. He just tells them in a smoother, more snake oil salesman kind of way, and that's why his favorability rating went up after the debate. Now that's why I say he helped himself. He told the same lies about immigration. He told the same lies about Iran getting money during the Biden administration from frozen assets, and that money is literally still frozen, and it hasn't gone to Iran because Iran violated the terms and conditions of the nuclear um, deal. But yeah, all those. He lied about him saying he never supported a national abortion ban when literally he ran his campaign in 2022 saying that if a woman, if they banned abortion in Ohio and the woman traveled to another state to get an abortion ban, then she was circumventing the law. So that's why he supported a national abortion ban. Those were his words. So it was just so many. I did a fact check last night of them, and we talked about them. But uh, also, but he said them in such a manner that the his favorability rating was increased. The way Donald Trump talked about eating the dogs, eating the cats, J.D. Vance lied about the status of Haitians in Springfield by calling them illegal immigrants, and they're not. There are no more illegal immigrants than the Ukrainians are that are in this country. It's not. And then Trump today, yesterday talked about the Congo, that they're coming from the Congo. They're opening a jail. Yeah, comparatively speaking, the Congo and Ukraine and Sudan and a couple other places are the citizens are the victims of war going on. Do you understand that out of the 1.2 million people displaced in the war that is going on in the Congo, only 19,000 of them have immigrated into this country in this year so far, and a total of less than 100,000 have immigrated to this country since 2011. Anybody care to guess how many Ukrainians have immigrated to this country since the war started in 2022? Anybody? Anybody want to guess how many Ukrainians have immigrated to this country under the same refugee act that the Haitians are under? Anybody? Since 2002? 100,000? Conservative, conservative, conservative. Anybody else? I know more than Rain. You want to make a guess? This is a participation show, by the way. Yeah, it's participation. 6 million. Not Petra went to 6 million, and Rain. At least Rain was in the 100,000s in the category. The Peaches is closer, 370,000, not counting the 178,000 that are under the Unite Ukraine package. Um, almost half a million, correct? Almost half, but no one ever talks about it. And and I'm not even begrudging them the right to be here. I'm just saying that whenever we talk about mass, when we talk about immigration in this country, it is MAGA uses code word for one to say the N word, or just to say how xenophobic and racist they are. Because we never talk about Eastern Europeans that are in this country, Western Europeans that are in this country by hundreds of thousands from war torn areas. But Haitians and Condon and the those from the Congo, thinking of Congo line, the Congo, all of a sudden is a problem, and we vilify them. Greetings and salutations, everyone who's just joining me. And just for you all remember I'm on the air from 10 Central Standard Time, 11 Central Standard Time on the GCPR network. So I have to also quantify your questions and make sure that people that are in radio land can understand them. So if I don't shout you out specifically, it's because people in radio land might not know you yet. But I feel like people like Robert, Petra, Penelope, Nick, they know them because I'm always talking about them. So I will get to you and we will introduce you to the radio audience also. I know people around the world in other countries listening to me like, is Penelope there? Is Petra in there? So yeah, I have to let them know that they are in here. I am doing good. I am doing good. So understand that I have multiple streams to keep up with across all my social media, and I have to make the radio audience feel welcome. So don't get in your feelings too quick because I don't respond to you. Just, I will get to you if not in this hour, in the after hour. I will get to you at the after party. Yeah. So we got about half a million, Jay. Correct. So who's their favorite? Is it me and Ben? I see. This is why I can't do a show. Anytime I mention something, they get is center themselves and get off the point. Back to the point. The Congo. So you see, because they never allow themselves to have those conversations, because it's not about immigration. It's about black and brown people. And since they can't say the N word, they have substituted the word immigrants for it. And so whenever they're talking about immigration, they're talking about exclusively black and brown people, even if the number of people who overstay their visa are not black and brown. Even if the same things they accuse black and brown immigrants of having access to, actually, you, the immigrants that do have access to those things are the immigrants that come from Eastern and Western Europe. So yeah, it's racism, and it's highly embedded in racism and xenophobia. And I need you all to understand that, because this segue is into the last video I made, and I realized that I might need some guidance because I don't understand how people don't understand the focus of my videos sometimes. Because I made a video talking about how certain people keep saying in my comment section how they'll be glad when this is over on November the 5th. So I made a video addressing those people, saying that the people who feel that way and think that way are the people who have the privilege of being that way, because marginalized groups of people. The Donald Trump giving racist and bigots voice is, we've always heard that voice. We have always been hearing that voice. While you all think this is something new, this vitriol, that's usually coming from white liberals. And that's the same people I was talking about. But I don't understand how y'all think I started the video off talking about the vitriol, and you thought that the MAGA supporters are going to be the one who were going to be glad of November 5th hit and there was no more vitriol. They are literally the definition of vitriol. So it's the liberal elite that, how do I put it without invoking El Haj Malik Shabazz? It's people that keep saying this like this is over. This same people that made the same mistake in 2008. And I mentioned that in my video, so I don't understand sometimes how highly intelligent people are missing the point that I'm talking about them. It's like some of you missing the point, and I'm like, I'm talking about you. This is in house. This is not about what MAGA supporters are doing, because those of us in marginalized communities, we have always heard this vitriol. It has never stopped. So when you pirate, pirate, so when y'all say those things, right, Rain, the call I'm talking about is inside the house, because some of you all are just going to go back to ignoring the voices that black and brown and marginalized groups of people have always had to contend with. This is not going to go away on November the 5th for us. And if it goes away on November for you, that's because you choose to ignore it like you have been doing, until it just got to the point where it slightly started to affect you. Now all of a sudden, oh, there's vitriol. What the fuck do you all think we've been? I'm on the radio. What do you all think we've been telling you all for hundreds of years? What? What in the entire hell do you all think we've been telling you all for the last 400 years? What do you think that we've been fighting? I know. I was hoping to just bypass it real quick. Like I say, that's one thing about being. That's why I take the late night shift, because, um, and on the East Coast where we monitor that, then hopefully most of them don't monitor after this hour. But I told them that. I said I wasn't gonna really curb my curse. Um, so okay, stop reading the comments, because they're not talking about a goddamn thing you're talking about, teenagers. So you get to that point where you have to realize that if we're going to engage in this thing we call accompliceship, not allyship, accompliceship, that you all have to understand that this is not going to be over on November 5th, no matter who becomes the president. Cam, look, I feel you, but at the end of the day, I just want to make sure we're not fighting any more battles than we are fighting right now. And I know a lot of people think that. I know a lot of people think that, but that's not the reality on the ground. It's not the reality of the situation. Even though we'll have somebody, or if we don't put, but just one election is not going to end racism in this country. Didn't you all learn that in 2008? Didn't you learn in 2012? Didn't you learn it by what the backlash was in 2016? What greetings and salutations, mother. My mother is in the chat, and maybe she can get you all right. My mother is in the chat. She makes me thought she was ignoring her son, and heard from her in a couple of hours. I was beginning to feel some kind of way. I'll say hello to my mother in the chat if you're on, if you happen to be on my TikTok page. My mother is in the chat, in the TikTok page, and she was. I guess I have to. She'll keep me from cussing some of you all out, ignoring my message in the TikTok page. All right, back to this message. But at the end of the day, yes, we we have to get you all to understand that some of you all's um, mentality is dangerous to us. Some the mentality to believing that we have not been on this front line, that we have. Yeah, I know. I know you can. Some of you all have to understand that when you take that approach, you're no better than people talking about they wish that they're colorblind. I remember people going through that phase, and we still live there, where people will say, I'm colorblind." Dr. King said, I want to slap, I'm telling you all, I'll be wanting to slap the taste out of somebody's mouth when they say they're colorblind and then start to quote Dr. King to literally to a black man standing there. And you be like, I don't want you to be colorblind. Because when you be colorblind only implies that you see everything as a shade of white. And that is really erasing the existence and experiences of people of color by you saying, well, I'm colorblind, I don't see. You're in the hubris of thinking that racism is solved because you don't see something is ludicrous, and that needs a slap on its own. So if you ever get into that, see, got the mic up there for y'all. I got that mic, and I got this mic. So we're mic'd up. And I even get a lapel mic. So because I got to move when I'm talking. I bet they're not colorblind when it comes to their green dollars. Mother, you make an interesting point because I was talking about James Woods the other day and how he's a staunch Trump supporter. And he posted on X the picture of the destruction of a overflowing river that was involved in the destruction of Asheville, South North Carolina. And he captioned it, "Where is Kamala Harris?" Now, we'll get back to that just a moment. But I thought it was interesting because James Woods was also the executive producer on Oppenheimer. Executive producer on Oppenheimer. But nobody knew that until the film after award season because he made it a point of keeping his involvement with the film a secret because of his Twitter X account because he was a staunch Trump supporter. And I was telling people, it's like, see, that just goes to show you that yes, the outward manifestation is one thing, but until such time as they make sure they have cleared their money, they keep it to themselves. And we have to start understanding. We have to learn, right? And once we identify who these people are, I'm gonna tell you, if you all are going to make friends with MAGA supporters after this election and you follow me right now, unfollow me. If you have my telephone number, you go ahead and just delete it. I don't care. I do not care. This will not change anything. I will not wake up on November 6th, no matter who's in office, and decide I want to play nice with people who spent their time calling for the deaths or the oppression of the people I love and care about. Yeah. Family, friend, I'm telling you, there are people I have quietly unfollowed on this app because of some of the things they have said in reference to this election, and don't care. Don't care. Yeah, and it's not the fact, like I say, if you have policy issues, that's one thing. But when I debunk your policy issues and your so-called cultural issues, and you still choose to embrace what you embrace, then we are not on the same path to liberation. We're not. And that's why I say, if you all have to, and this is the segue I'm getting into the debate last night about the tenor of the debate. Um, Not taking anything from Tim Walz as has his ability to govern. He's the mayor. He's the governor of Minnesota. We know he can govern, but I hated the tenor of the debate. I hated the tenor of the debate because it allowed he didn't do anything to rattle JD Vance. And this is why I say that. Because if you're running on a platform that Donald Trump and the MAGA supporters are a threat to democracy, then why am I out here fighting harder against that threat than the people at the top of the ticket? Why am I out here fighting harder against the threat that you all have identified to this democracy than the people at the top of the ticket? The reality of that situation is that debate was not going to move the needle for Trump supporters. And I wish Tim Walz would have understood that like I understood. Because I would have sidestepped every question after the first 15. I would have answered every question they asked me in 15 seconds. And then I would have spent the rest of my minute and 45 seconds eviscerating anything JD Vance had said previously. What was so hard to understand about that? That's your job at that point. Your job at that point is to show us that you are going to be the leader that you want us to have. It's just that's why I get on some of you. I went in a live after I got off yesterday, and I was following Penelope and my chief of security. Right, I usually don't go into these lives, but they let me in the box. They let me in the box, and I proceeded to verbally clear house. I've showed them what it looked like to confront people that are threats that you say they are. If I think you're a threat to the liberation of my people, if I think you're a rocket raccoon, why am I giving you oxygen in the same room where I am? Why? I want to. So I had made in my mind either you were going to block me or I was going to run them off. And luckily, the host was highest giraffe pussy on Mount Kilimanjaro, so they I don't think they had the coordination to block me, and none of the moderators were going to throw me out. So yeah, I proceeded to eviscerate every talking point that they had, even before they made it. And that's what we have to do. We cannot sit around and be friendly with people that are not interested in our friendship unless because we have superior numbers. So when you have superior numbers, people want to be quiet and they hold it, they won't put it out there. But the minute they think they got the upper hand, oh, they own you. They own you. I wouldn't have let them block you. Uh, man, I never knew. I was waiting for him. That's the reason I stayed in the box. I stayed in the box waiting for him to open his mouth. And he was frying bologna. I was in the box for what? 40 minutes cussing out people out, and he's still frying bologna? Yeah. And then he dropped when I did get in his ass. Because that's what we have to do. Why are we giving them oxygen? So, yeah, that's what happened. MAGA supporters come in talking these points. I'm talking to somebody saying JD Vance won the election because he stood. He won the debate because he stood. JD Vance, and I asked them about the joint panel for congressional oversight, and they didn't even know what it was. So I said, how can you talk about someone winning a debate when you don't understand what they lied about? And I'm tired of people going around here with this narrative of, well, Iran is able to have weapons because we unfroze $100 million of their assets and gave them back to them. And I was like, oh my goodness, where do you all get these talking points from? Yeah, whoever giving you all these talking points, you need to go back and sue for your money back. You probably graduated from Trump University because the 56 billion dollars that was frozen in Iranian assets is still frozen because they violated the terms and conditions of the nuclear proliferation treaty that they were under. So they never get that money. They never got it. So what makes you think that that's a reality when you don't even know the agencies governing. You don't even know what the freeze was about. And they'll say these things. Like I told you, JD Vance got there and acted like we're not producing, exporting oil and natural gas at a rate that never has been seen in this country's history under President Biden. None. When will they learn to not debate against TNathan? And I don't, and that's why I don't debate because they don't have any counterfacts. And I get irritated, and then I just cuss because obviously me trying to, I know that my conversation is not going to move the needle with them because you can't have a debate when you don't have any facts. I feel anybody time somebody comes to me and I'm having a intellectual discussion on facts and they say, "Well, I feel," the debate is literally over. The debate on issues are literally over when somebody says, "I feel." Well, I'm not here based on how you feel. You said you want to have a debate on the issue. Well, the issues come with facts. I was just talking about you, Chief of Security. Yeah. Let me find out you were in another live. Let me find out my chief of security was in another live, and we're gonna have it out because like, yeah, we're gonna have it out. I put my epiphany, yeah, yeah. Better not. It's 31 minutes into my show and he just getting here. Let me find out he was in somebody else's live and didn't. Yeah, yeah. He got quiet and got quiet in the comment section. Right? He gonna take it out on one of y'all. Y'all better be careful. He's looking for somebody to take it out on. He looking for somebody to take it out on. Y'all might want to step lightly in the next couple of minutes. Right? Yeah. So that's where we are. And like I said, the tenor of the debate was horrible. Yeah, it was horrible. I sent you a picture of what I was doing. You sent me a picture? Hold on. Let me see. Because my phone didn't go off. Let me see. Do I need to turn this phone around? I don't have the last message I got from you was at 2:44 a.m. 2:44 a.m. He can't touch me. I'm on your YouTube. Jay says you can't touch him. He on YouTube. Yeah, 2:44. Yeah, 2:44 a.m. Like I don't have the time by these messages. Yeah. Uh, now you just sending me something. Oh, oh. I guess I still won't overlook it. You're gonna put me on in the background while you continue to do that. Yeah, he sent me a picture just now at 10:34 p.m. I had a picture. Yeah, he unwinding. Yeah, Jay said you can't touch him over on YouTube. By the way, I just thought I'd put that out for you there. It's a picture. It loads slow. Yeah, right. So that's the point. So how many of y'all that watched the debate? Give me some grades. Y'all throw some grades up in the comment section. Give me a grade on how you would grade Tim Walz's performance during the debate. His performance now. Um, Give me a grade on the performance. Right. Let's see. We got a B, C plus, C, B. Yeah, about the same range. About the same range. Yes. I gave him a B. I gave him a B myself on his performance. And I could tell you the things that kept me from giving him an A. One, not aggressive enough. Um, his experience, no, I would give a Petra his experience as governing. I give him an A. I give him an A on his experience as governing. I'm not going to take that away from him. I think he's efficient as a governor. I think he'll be efficient, but at this point in time, we need somebody to also eviscerate. And I will give him like I agree with the overall assessment of a B, and that because one, he wasn't aggressive enough with in the face of JD Walsh's lies, JD Vance's lies, and his slickness. Oh, I can't. All right, Jay, you wanted him over there. I told you. Yeah, yeah. Jay wanted him on YouTube. Yeah, if you get Chief of Security, he could be everywhere at once. But on his experience, and I think he did. And I hated the way he handled the Tiananmen Square question. I literally hated it. I literally, and that kept him. That's another mark that kept him from getting a B plus, because his response to the Tiananmen Square question, when he could have just simply said everything he said at the end at the beginning of that question, and then took a minute and 45 seconds to eviscerate JD Vance, because I would have said, hey, I was in Hong Kong in the summer of 1989, but I wasn't there when the Tiananmen Square event took place, and I misunderstood. I misspoke. That would have been fine. That would have been fine. How long did anybody time me? How long it took that? He needs to take how to be petty 101. I'm teaching 101A right now. Right. And then there were so many questions that I also felt like he went too long on when the base answer could have only took. That's my problem with these debates too. When I'm looking for more aggression, I wanted, you saw the aggression that he had in the final 5 to 7 minutes when he turned to JD Vance and said, would you certify the election, or would you say that Donald Trump lost and JD Vance wouldn't? And then that was petty and cutting right there. And then today, it was just icing on the cake when Jack Smith came out with this 165 pages after that. See, that was the kind of energy he should have had the entire debate. The entire debate. Every time JD Vance said something untrue, his national, and I'd be wondering, I'd be like, am I the only one who knows these things? Do I need to be whispering in these people's ear? Because anytime these candidates say something, I think if you're seeking these offices, you should know as much as I do. I just feel that way. I feel like if you're seeking these offices, if I can think of this stuff within 5 seconds of hearing it, I think you should. And you go through prep. I don't even have any idea what questions you're going to ask or how they. But I tell you how the candidate's going to ask. I could tell you every question that JD Vance was asked. I could tell you how he was going to answer it. And honestly, I could tell you how each candidate was going to answer the question. So that's why I couldn't understand how you're not prepared to counter the falsehoods that you get. No, I have the same energy you do. That's what I'm talking about. The biggest soundbite from the debate wasn't even right. Walsh should have just admitted he lied. And he didn't even, and as a politician, he didn't even have to admit he lied. He could have just gone with the misspoke. You and I would have known. But that would have cleared it up. I misspoke. I made a bad. I got my. He can't say I got my time confused because we don't want an elected official that gets confused. We can say I just misspoke. I was there doing 90, doing 89, and I'm Tiananmen Square happened a few weeks before I got there or after I got there. He could even said I went to Tiananmen Square, but it wasn't at the time when the Tiananmen Square event was taking place. All that is great. All that would have been great. Nope. I shouldn't run because I box, and I don't believe in democracy. I don't believe democracy is going to save our country. I don't. I don't believe in democracy because I know too. I've seen too many people. I've met too many people. I've seen so many. Yes, sir. There's a corner with your name on it in flashing lights. Stop terrorizing little Jay over there. Stop terrorizing Jay over there. But no, I box. I believe in boxing. I believe that if people See, the first day, say if y'all what? Y'all want me to be in the House of Representatives? I'm boxing the Speaker of the House. You want me to be in the Senate? We're boxing. I'm boxing everybody who come down to the Senate floor. I'm boxing. Yeah, I'm boxing. Yeah, anything. Because I will literally. I used to turn to people in city council meetings, and they ask me, "TNathan, what did you think about what I said today?" I say it was about the third stupidest thing you said the entire time I was here. Yeah, third. Do you want them in order? Yeah, I would say things like, okay, Jay, you have already gotten in trouble yesterday for watching the debate by yourself instead of with the family. What? Jay watched the debate by himself. Jay was in here. Jay was listening. Yeah. I would want to box. And then I got a chief of security in the Dora Milaje. So the first thing we're going to do is take over Congress or take over the presidency. And then we're going to abolish it. And then we're going to set up the rule of a leader with a council of 12. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I just don't believe, and anybody who knows me can tell you this, and I guess this is why I don't have any more supporters, that I don't believe that the electorate at large is the best voting decision for people who don't know. I don't, if you're going to have a voting system set up like we do in the United States, there should be some requirement that should be provable that you know understand the issues. I believe that. I'm sorry. I think part of the reason we get into the issues we get into and the troubles we get into is that people don't know issues, and people shouldn't be out here voting that don't know their three branches of government. And it's hard to even say how you would come about that in a democracy when we have seen this country exploit that same idealism to ban minorities from voting. So that's why I would abolish the system and put something in place with a council of 12 and a leader, and believe that true servants of the people um, can guide. Yeah, that's just it. And we're not going to legislate our way out of racism when we continue to elect racists. So with that way, we could have, and there are fewer people. There has to be someone, and that's why people talk to me and they learn. I talk about the systems of rule that took place in African societies with be they small or large, and how that usually predicated itself on the rule of one with the voice of many. That would be the 12. And yes, those were the advisors, but it has to be somebody who says, you know what, for the sake of speed. Like in the middle of a war, it's not a time to have a council meeting because you don't know the facts. Your leaders should be up to speed on all of your enemies, all their capabilities, and adjudicate the generals accordingly. They in the middle of a, it's like, take for instance, something happens at your home, someone breaks in or something, and you're supposed to be the head of household. Whoever you are, head of household, male, female, they, them, whoever. You have to be where the buck stops. When I say run, you run without question because it falls upon me to make these decisions in the heat of the moment. When I say, I got this, take care of the kids, I don't want to hear no, "Well, I'm here, I got your back." Didn't I just tell you to take care of the kids? See that hesitation you just made makes sure that our kids are now in danger because you didn't do what I asked you to do because I am supposed to be the head of household. And people were like, "Well, no, we can all make decisions." No, we can all make decisions and have these conversations when it's not an emergency. And then at the end of that, I'm still going to make the final decision. And people don't like the way that sounds. But you cannot have government when you have everybody having a voice at the same time, regardless of the situation. But you also believe that your leaders in the sense of pharaohs and that they had proven themselves. You had proven yourself before you got there. Legislation ain't fixing the day today because they still feel like they can break laws unchecked. And it's not, you know what? I wouldn't even care about them breaking laws unchecked for the natural corruption that comes with them if they just do so in a manner that took care of the citizens. That's the thing about when I talk about corrupt politicians, right? I say, you don't even have to be corrupt to benefit for the level of things you wanted to benefit from. You could have did all that. See, this is what you learn about the pharaohs and the great leaders of of the homeland. They were servants to the people, and therefore the people took care of them. They didn't have to steal gold bars because the people were like, "What do you need? What do you need? You protect us, and we take care of you." So that's what I be scratching my head over when I see the corruption in a democracy, because it's like, what are you like, you were corrupt for a couple of gold bars? Yeah, I'm talking about Stinson because he tried to throw his wife under the bus. I thought that was so funny. You threw your wife with cancer under the bus, and you taking gold bars from some. I'm like, gold bars? Do you know how heavy gold bars are? You're being bribed with gold bars. How does that even look? Who shows up at the bribery point with 20 gold bars? Come on, come on, for real, for real. Isn't that just crazy? Oh man, oh my bad. The flashing lights was too bright, so I had to sell it. Say you were wearing a leather jacket with who me on the back. Exactly. Why Trump is not a mastermind? There's perfect legal ways. He don't need to- and then it just amazes me, and I be looking at, it, I be like, yeah, what is going on here? I'm gonna tell you, this is what's so funny. As somebody who used to be in the game, it is more corruption in politics under democracy than there ever was in any street organization I was a part of. I know y'all get the movies and y'all believe in like everybody. No, no, not at all. All that betrayal you all be seeing in movies, it didn't happen as wide. That's why they could last as long as they did, because it didn't happen as widespreadly as you all believe. That's what's one of my problems was I expected the same level of loyalty in an organization or group of people that was dedicated towards fighting against the oppressor than I did in organizations that I have was a part of in my youth, and it didn't exist. It doesn't exist because you all are actually literally fighting for stuff that comes nat that comes naturally in positions of leadership. That's why it's like you all know my limitations. You all say, "Well, T. Nathan does not farm. T. Nathan is not going to build. I could build a lean-to, but I can't build a house." But by the same token, there are people that know that okay, T. Nathan has this part of the fight. I'm gonna make sure he has the house he needs to live in to do it. I'm gonna make sure that his where's Metal Melter in here? Where's Metal Melter? Yeah, where's Metal? Yeah. If he comes in, y'all let me know because yeah, I want to get my furnace joke in on him. But and that's it. When I have issues on that nature, I pick up the phone and call Petra. Petra will tell you that was that Petra and I. You have to understand. We also worked at a law firm. We worked at a law firm together. Yeah, these are things about my life that people be doing all this Google research, and I'll be like, yeah, okay. I was really a hitman. I was a hitman for the law firm. I was the one that was in charge of the campaign and opposite. People like, you never ran a campaign. I was like, yes, I have ran a campaign before. Ran several campaigns before. That I have. I'm the operation. I'm the opposition research. I'm also the one you show up with in case anybody wants to get out of line. Um, you installed the security system. It's like I'm the one you call that you know he's gonna show up and make sure that everything runs smoothly, even if he has to hit somebody in the face with that iron. Um, and that's what we do, right? But we all understood leadership, and everybody only wanted to be the best part that they were to the Senate. I mean, even though Petra, we have to admit, we probably were in service to somebody that in the end we found out who they were and we acted accordingly. I mean, even tried to divide Petra and I. But at the end of the day, Petra and I survived, and they did when it came to it. Because at the end of the day, once you see loyalty, you realize. Yeah, no comment. I stay in trouble. I was politely asked by a very faded host to invite a man who cussed out white supremacists to cuss out white supremacists. Yeah, and you knew what you were doing too, Don. Don know I respond to him. Let some people know that I respond to them even if I'm reading. And Don knew what he was doing. Tell the feds to surround sensitive targets with shrimp and roaches. Yeah. So you saying you know me that well? You say you know me that well that I won't walk through shrimps and roaches to get a target? Yeah, yeah. It depends on what the target is. It depends on how important this target is. But somebody is going to have to, when I get out of these shrimps and roaches, yeah, yeah, somebody in trouble. And anybody who told them surround the target with shrimps and roaches, I'm going to find you. Yeah. So that's what it's about, and that's my critique on the election. Um, what's going to take place after the election? And while we laugh and joke and have fun, I want you all to understand we are not going to make the decisions that we made after 2008, no matter what happens on November the 5th, 2024. We're not going to proceed in the same manner. Kamala Harris wins the White House, her and J.D. Walls, then you're going to still show up 2 years later and put more people in to support an agenda. If we find out that the agenda that they are pushing isn't in good faith with what we need, then I'm going to eviscerate them also. Understand, my evisceration of the issues is not going to stop because I supported a candidate that I might find out that went away or they go awry. I will hold them to the same standard that I hold everybody else who has failed us to. Do not make the mistake of believing that just because I am quiet on small issues right now, that if these small issues balloon into something that becomes adversely affecting to marginalized communities, that I won't be getting thrown off the steps of the Supreme Court again next year. Let's not lose sight of that. We must we must focus on the fact that the fight we are endeavoring into, if you're new here, if you're just listening and you're just listening for the entertainment value, that's one thing. But the people who I'm speaking to understand that we are in opposition to anything, no matter who does it, that oppresses the people we're standing in unison. And if we find out, if it goes out the way we plan, just because we might win a legislative victory doesn't mean we won the victory on the street corner. That doesn't mean that innocent, unarmed people of color are not going to still be the victims of police brutality and they're still going to need us. That doesn't mean that we're going to sit idly by and watch the victimization of the LGBTQ community because we're going to say, well, we got this battle coming, we're going to sit down and it'll work its way out. No, because on November the 5th, trans women are not going to mysteriously become less endangered than they were on November the 4th. So understand what we are actually fighting for November the 5th is not the end of what we'll be fighting for. We're just fighting to make sure we don't double our problems on November the 6th. November 5th needs to be the day we talk about trying to influence what people do get to put into. Right. November the 6th, yeah. Y'all gonna tune in November the 6th. We're gonna either have a celebration or a commiseration. And then we're gonna talk about what's the plan. And then we're gonna lay out the plan. We're gonna lay out the footwork. I'm gonna tell you everything that I see that we have to be careful of going forward. Wishes it's like they think the government is going to turn into a mass uniform that grants wish. Yeah, and I'm gonna say this: you all know the path of destruction. And Petra and I talked about this today. The path of destruction of Hurricane Helene um, is devastating. Covers 6 states. And I'm gonna say this, and people thought it was harsh when I said it at first. When people, I'm watching these videos, and people are like, "Where's Biden? Where's Harris?" I guess signing the legislation and organizing the people who need to be there that can help you. Because what you think Biden gonna do coming down to your destruction area? People are like, well, they could draw attention to it. Let me tell you something. Eyes of the country are on that part of the country and wondering what can and watching it unfold. What attention you do? You just want to like the man, like Petra. We were talking about the man who traveled. How long did he travel to leave his home and his disaster area to go see Trump? Petra? How many hours did he travel? And when you get to the number of hours he traveled, think about how much gas he took from people who he traveled an hour and a half from his home in a disaster area to go see Trump in a less disastrous area. Understand what that means. That's not helping. You're not helping the problem. If you can't put on a Superman cape and have Superman energy, or put on a Wonder Woman costume and have Wonder Woman energy and move some trees, hold up some railways so trains get across, then I need you to be able to man some backhoes. And if you can't do that, 5 minutes, G, 5 minutes GCPR. If you can't do that, then what I don't need you here. I never understood that fascination with optics in the time of a disaster. I want the people on hand that can do something. When I show up, I'm here to do something. I'm not here because I'm TNathan. I'm here because you need some more hands to hold up something. When we went to Rolling Fork and I took you all along for the ride, you saw we were doing things. We were feeding people. Where I was carrying stuff because that's what the people needed. They didn't need me just to be there to draw other people there. That if you were coming there just to look at me, we ain't got nothing to talk about. If you're coming down here to roll your hands, roll your sleeves up, and lift some of this water, because carrying 3 things of water at a time is work. I thought working out was safe. That water moving in there is a different kind of experience, right? 2 minute it is 10:58 on the GCPR. It is 10:58. Let me bring up the GCPR before Olivia talk about me and my 30-minute exits. We got 3 minutes and some change over on the GCPR. So the next time I call you out, I will be signing off. Hold up. That ass drove longer than 2 hours. It takes 3 hours to get from North Carolina to Georgia. And then you have to add on top of that, Petra, the road conditions that he had to face. And he probably was driving a gas guzzler. Yeah. There are multiple interstates that are going to be out for a year. Right. And it's not even, and then I also wonder, how many people do you all think work for FEMA? How many people do you think are in the National Guard? And then do you understand some of those National Guards couldn't even make it to their duty assignment because they were in an area that had no roads? So this is the thing that gets me. You got 2 minutes and some change, Olivia. But this is the thing that gets me. These people calling for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, what do you want them to do that they haven't done? Joe Biden signed the disaster declarations before the storm even hit. And I'm not going to mention the fact that the meteorologist service told you to move out the path of the storm. They did tell you to evacuate. Yep. So you want other people to do something you didn't, to do something about something you didn't do something about. You're literally in the mountains, people. Your only way into town is this one rickety road that crosses a mud river, and you're complaining that Joe Biden didn't do anything about you getting out of the mountains ahead of when a storm destroyed this little mud road. Right. When can we get around to acknowledging that IGCP? Oh, no, I got a minute, 15 seconds. When can we get? It's 11:01. Oh, that's because I was late. What's up, GCPR? The countdown is off because I forgot. I was late. It is 11:01, and I was counting down wrong. Thank you for joining us. I hope you all have enjoyed the conversation. If you can, in your country, that if you want to pop on over to my instant my social media account. Come on over, and if you can, I'll see you tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern. Peace. All right, did not getting good, getting good. Did not take 30 minutes. So over time, it has. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot that I was. I be forgetting that I'm late, and so the countdown is off because it starts when I go on, and not necessarily when I think. I saw a lot of representatives voting against FEMA, helping us say right, and then Mississippi. Let me tell you, Mississippi is notorious poorest state, one of the poorest states in the union, and they're notorious for turning down federal assistance to the poor in their state. They're notorious for that. Yeah. When does the Joker come out? When it comes out, I'll buy it. I'll buy it, but it hasn't come out yet. It doesn't come out to what? Yeah, it's not out yet. I don't think when does I think the Joker comes out either this weekend. It comes out this weekend. They're trying to say they're not giving notice to leave. Yeah, you're right. What weather channel were you all watching? I knew you all had. I knew those. I knew the path of the storm and where to evacuate from. I forgot the clip I saw was an early screening. I'm not watching that hot garbage. We're watching. We're watching Joker, and yeah, we're watching Joker because it's a commentary on our society. And I'm gonna tell you who I think each part is. Hot garbage. Yeah, we're watching. We're all social commentary. We're watching. We're watching The Purge forever. I got that scheduled. Air Force One. Nah, Air Force One. Hmm. I mean, it's good, but I like. I'm sorry. I like Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan. I like Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan. That's Harrison Ford was my favorite Jack Ryan. He he will always be my favorite Jack Ryan and Han Solo. Sorry, not sorry. I relate to most villains, even Joker. I can relate to villains like Doom and Magneto because they're only in service to their people. Yeah, I can relate. Yeah, yeah, I can relate to Doom and Magneto. I don't really consider them villains. I consider them willing to do anything that it takes to secure their people. But everybody who knows me knows the villain, the person that people consider a villain that I actually relate to is the person that, if you know what Revelations mean, that you get, and it's not from the Bible. People be thinking that Revelations of the fold is a Bible, or even Harbinger of the fold is a biblical reference, and it's a reference to Apocalypse. Well, Apocalypse name is Revelation. So I've always identified with Apocalypse because he tests his people to make them stronger. Because the only way you're going to survive the coming storm is by strength, and you can't depend on the chaos bringer to save you from chaos. Doom minus that ego would be unstoppable. I think I hear you because your interpretation of ego probably, but Doom has confidence. Doom has confidence, and it's part of his ability. The more confident, Doom is almost like Gladiator. It's going to get nerdy right now and blurry. So, but I will explain it to you all as we go, and I will make it fit, guaranteed. Don't leave because it's going to be in Doom. Doctor Doom, and his ego is really just confidence because he exudes that confidence because people rally around him. It's like Gladiator. If you know what Gladiator is, Gladiator's strength is based in his self confidence. The more confident he is in himself, the stronger he is. So a lot of people will mistake confidence for arrogance or ego. Arrogance arrogance is unfounded, by the way. People have called me arrogant before as I'm beating them up. I was like, actually, me beating you up proves the fact that I am more physically capable of beating you up than you are of beating me up. So it's not arrogant. It's I'm confident. I'm confident that I can beat you up because I continue to do so. It's the confidence that comes with a big brother. Even though, you might have to shake your little brother around a little, you're still gonna protect him, and they really understand that you can protect them based on that confidence that you beat their ass with. So that's the way I look at doom. Is Israel another Lebanon, Libya, just 80 years after taking the tools of violence used against them? I get in trouble whenever I talk about Israel because people can understand that I can talk about Israel and separate the Jewish people from the government that is Israel and the actions of Benjamin Netanyahu or Netanyahu specifically. And specifically, Benjamin Netanyahu is a real villain, a real villain. And it's a shame that he's able to prey on the fears, the well-founded fears, I may add, of the Jewish population of Israel. That even though it's not a real situation that they could have to worry about, but he preys on that fear and he uses it against them, and he's a real villain. And that's not the kind you can relate to, Siren, because we can relate to what mostly are anti-hero villains than we can the true diabolical nature of somebody like Netanyahu. Putin is the same way. He's a diabolical villain. Anybody who was in the KGB is a diabolical villain. Um, uh, Trump is a chaotic villain, and I will get into alignment if you understand the alignment. Trump is more chaotic, but he's for himself, and the villainy and the selfishness that comes in that is what he brings to the. He's for himself. But the thing about Netanyahu and Putin, they're they're diabolical, idealistic villains. Like I understand what Putin is after. If you really want to be honest about, he wants to rebuild the former USSR. He wants to restore the CCCP that he was a KGB agent a part of, and I mean that by land wise. That's what he's trying to do. He just thought he could do it quicker when he took Crimea when he went into um, uh, Georgia, and all those, and now the Ukraine. He wants to restore. He wants all of those satellite countries that fell out at the fall of the CCCP. He wants them back. That's what he wants, and he doesn't care what he has to do to get it back. Just unfortunately, his goals extend way past his ability, his reach, because don't forget, China does not want people. Listen, when you study geopolitical history, you start to understand that even though you might not see the machinations, China is working against Russia ever getting back to the point of being the largest country in the world, not only in area but in political influence. And China is making sure that doesn't happen as quiet as it's kept. No matter what face they turn towards Russia, you understand the Sino-Russia War has roots in history, hundreds of years of history, and that's not going to happen. China wants Siberia back too. China wants to. Do you agree with me? Most dark groups are really just freedom fighters. Yes, most, most. But even in the name, but here's what my problem is. My problem is leadership. And that's why I always talk to you all about. I talk to you all about no good leader sits around and comes up with a plan that requires the loss, intentional loss of soldiers. And you should not follow anybody that comes up with the only plans they have are intentional plans that involve the loss of soldiers. And it's a difference. There's soldiers and warriors, and sometimes we're warriors, and sometimes we are acting in capacity as a soldier. There's a whole difference in that. That's a whole other conversation we can talk about. So when I use those words, I use them intentionally. So, but anytime a leader, and the best they can tell you is, I got a suicide mission. Well, is that the best you could think of? That doesn't mean there's not going to come a time where we have to make sacrifices. But number one, that should never be every mission. Every mission, it shouldn't end in, well, y'all are not coming back for this. What do you mean 100 soldiers? You sending 100 soldiers out here to say they're not coming back intentionally? What the hell you got going on? Yeah, were you going? You going? Yeah, but that's why I say it's a different. It's there's freedom fighting, and then there's freedom fighters that are led by the wrong people. Yeah, but it's also sometimes you got to realize, if I say we're not going out and getting any zombies to experiment on and bring them back into the camp where we keep it safe to say if we can stop the pandemic of zombieism, no, we're not doing that. And if you do it, I'm locking you out with the zombies because you're trying to endanger what we're trying. Well, we can save it. No, what happens every time, what happens in every zombie movie or any horror movie when somebody goes and try to capture one of the infected and say we're going to bring it back and we're going to see what the problem is and we're going to make an antidote? What happens? What happens at the camp? The safe headquarters that you bring these zombies in, no matter what, alien, aliens, the same thing. We're going to build a lab elsewhere and figure out how to help them. And that's like, I'm building right. If you have another separate facility that you understand, you can't come back in here either. If you're dedicated to it and you say, I say, hey, we can communicate by electronic ways, but you can't have that plant and enjoy the facility we're in that we are able to keep safe, because all that's going to happen is they're going to get free and cause hell. We won't bring any MAGA zombies back. Right. His goal of rebuilding the USSR doesn't serve the people. But I said, but doesn't serve the people. That's the difference in a diabolical villain. His idealistic principles are his own. It serves his idea of the people. It serves his idea. I'll tell you that. Kim Jong Il. He's a villain too. But he's a villain with a psychological imbalance that he's convinced himself that the will of the people is his to assert. And if they're starving, long as they're starving in his name, it's all good. See, that's why I talk to you about that there are certain things that leaders must do. Like, I must feed those who have to be home. It's not an option. We must take care of those the least in our society. And we have to be able to walk into, but if you're going to be a supporter or follower of mine, you have to be able to walk into bubblegum at the same time. I can't do it. I can't. No, you got to be able to walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. You got to be able to understand we need to fight while understanding we need to protect also. And you have to understand you treat the people you're fighting differently than you do the people you're protecting. All that, well, it's just who I am and how I am. No, no. And don't worry, I'm a disciplinarian, and y'all know I can be harsh on the people I care about, but I never break, never harsh to the point. Never harsh on people I love and care about just to be harsh on people I love and care about. I am literally scared to hell sometimes that the people I love and care about don't listen to the experience, and then they have to get in the experience, and then I will blow up something to save it. Mania. What's up, Fluffy? This is why I need to slow down because my words are rushing out, sounding better in my head. Ah. Who did colonization serve? It served the colonizer. It served the colonizer. See, sometimes we have to, in the fight, we have to acknowledge the truth. And the truth in this fight is that while we laugh at the majority of MAGA supporters, for instance, like they couldn't figure out that there's more than three branches of government, all that. But Steve Bannon is not stupid. Stephen Collins is not stupid. These are brilliant people in their own right. They're just brilliant in service to racism and oppression. And we have to start to realize that, because when we think of the enemy as just stupid, we underestimate the enemy. And we have been consistent. I've been watching people consistently do that, underestimate. Even when I obliterate the enemy, I never obliterate them from just the aspect I think they're stupid. I just learn how to rally. You learn how to rally. Correct me if I'm wrong, but dance, dances relatable. Oh, Vance's relatability is dangerous because he is well spoken. Yes, that's what I said. That was my problem. Did you all notice that Vance's approval rating went up 19 points after the debate? He went from negative 22 to I think plus negative 3. I think it was 19 points. Yeah, he went from a negative 22 to negative 3. That's because I told you he didn't do Trump any favors, but he just showed that he could be Trump. And people were calling him Trump light. No, 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 no. He's not Trump light. He's Trump's rhetoric in a different tone. Like I say, he and then Tim Walz's weakness is he allowed it. He allowed JD Vance to present this image. And then by saying, I'm sorry, I will have never said I agree with you on anything. That was another thing that irritated me about the debate. Every time you turn around, Tim Walz say something crazy. He'll say something that's slightly logical within the overall generality of crazy racism, and Tim Walz will find that one thing that we agree on. No, I don't agree with any of this shit. I don't. Yeah, broke clock is right twice a day. That doesn't mean I'm going to set my watch by it. And it's also and I also remember Siren that he gives he you know how you'll have a group of people and there's only one is one of them that's just a little smarter than the rest of them, and so that's the leader. That's what JD Vance offers the base level of MAGA support. See, he offers the base level of MAGA supporters a relatability factor. And the upper echelon of racists and bigots like Steve Bannon and Stephen, they look at, see, while while he is intelligent, while Bannon is intelligent, Bannon still doesn't have the refinement that JD Vance has. Everybody looks at Steve Miller and says they call him the N word off the top. They call him the Third Reich word off the top. But Vance, they see a polish in Vance that they admire. And that and I tell you, Vance will be, unless something unfortunate happens, I don't do wishing, unless something unfortunate happens, he's going to be the face of MAGA going forward if whatever happens on November 5th. For some reason, he reminds me of the way white people flock to young. Yeah, yeah, true. Vance used his wife for points again, but didn't actually. Right. I don't see how his wife doesn't hear that he literally said, "Yeah, my wife is obviously not black. I mean, not white, but I love her anyway." Excuse me, Queen Dora Milaje. If somebody said that about you, what would you think? I, No, no, not nerd. If you say nerd, I genuinely think if Walls called him a nerd, it would have been more effective. Not nerd. No, because there are too many people that relate to nerd. If Walls would have snuck a couch joke in, or if he would have snuck something like the weird denomer in, or showed him, that would have been effective. If Walsh would have leaned into just a little more, I mean, I know they're not going to be as aggressive as I was, but if he could have just been a little more aggressive throughout the debate and broke, see, he never did anything to break JD Vance's stride of smooth. He never broke that smoothness. And he rattled him only at the end, and it was too late. Why do you think Vance is with a couch instead of his wife? I wouldn't have gone. I think that would have been too far too. That not what I think. More like what would I do? Right, right. Exactly, Simon. He lacked. Like I can't take anything away from his ability to govern. Understand that is not an issue. I think there was really no wrong kick for the Democratic Party between Walls, Mark Kelly, Josh Shapiro, Ray Cooper, any of them. All of them governed Texas. Josh Shapiro and Mark Kelly and Pete Buttigieg would have brought the aggression we needed. Uh, Pete Pete would have Pete Pete would have ate it up. I guarantee you. I guarantee you, if Pete Buttigieg was on that vice presidential debate, JD JD would have been shook, and just like I be waiting on people to call me the N word in a live. I would have been sitting there saying, "I know what JD Vance is thinking. I know what he wants to call Pete Buttigieg. That's what I want. That's what I want. I wish that Pete could have just inherited, just like a body switch could have taken place, and Pete Buttigieg's mind could have been in Tim Walz's body for just an hour and a half. Just an hour and a half. That debate would have went much different. Yeah, couldn't pat me enough. JD's wife, he would come up missing. Yeah, after you get the millions, yeah, right. Yeah, Josh Shapiro, yeah, that would have those three. And I'm talking Roy Cooper. Isn't that the plot of the Marvels? Yeah, but they didn't. Yeah, that wasn't good enough. Yeah, Josh would have ate him up too. Josh would have ate him up too. But see, it's not that. Like I say, it's not that I'm not happy with Tim Walz's governing style. I mean, the things he's done in government for the LGBTQ community and marginalized groups of community and women in Minnesota. Yes, I will. A plus. A plus. Not. I just wanted more assertiveness. And I'm gonna put it this way also: all politicians lie about something, and you can like that or dislike. As somebody who I perfected the art of lying when I was on the run, and I never, and I don't intellectually masturbate to all about that. I will lie now if I think it is in service to my goal. I will do all that. I am not going to sit here. If you all sit here and follow me and think that I'm this paragon of virtue and I would never lie for the furtherment of, I just don't have to lie for myself like I learned to lie for anyway, because I realize that I could just did it a different way and it's less trouble. And I'm a kind of person that I kept up with the lies I told during the time I was on the run. Um, yeah, not so all politicians lie, but it's what you lie about that is relevant. There's one lie about I was in Tiananmen Square in '89. I was actually just in Hong Kong, not Tiananmen Square. Oh, I don't. You just embellish. That's the lie I call the lie of embellishment. And I know some people are like taking the moral high ground right now. Oh, what? All lies are bad. Yeah, if it's in lying and saving my life or saving somebody I love's life, I don't even mix forms about it. But and then we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that all politicians lie. But there are lies that we expect in the natural course of politicians. This is I tell you, this is what you get with democracy. You can like it or not. Lying about being in Tiananmen Square on October in 1989, I don't. It's not relevant to you being president. Lying about you calling for a national abortion ban when it affects the lives of women around the country is a whole nother animal. Yeah, it's a whole nother animal. lying, and when we have women dying because of it, no one's dying because Tim Walz embellished being in Tiananmen Square in 1989. Nobody. And you can feel about it the way you want to. And it's like I tell people, I, I don't classify all crimes as the same, not because I've committed criminal activity, but because nobody is ever afraid to be in a room with, no woman is ever afraid to be in a room with me because I have those kind of crimes. Yeah, no, there is a difference. There's a difference. The difference is I'm still sitting here because my mother would have also came to prison and killed me. Yeah, that wouldn't have been a thing. She would have tricked them into letting her in for a parent-son visit, and I would have been telling them, "Don't let my mother in here. She's going to literally kill me if I was in jail for that kind of crime. Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting here." So there is a difference, and there are decisions that we have to make in the real world. You know, a lot of people live in this world of romanticized fantasy or this idealistic of reality that they would like to live in. We don't live in that world. We don't live in that world. I'm a registered self-checkout skier. There's a big difference between murder and parking tickets. Exactly. What's up, Angry? I'll say hello to Angry. Angry, I got off in time. I am not. Angry Kim is here to make sure. Angry, he in here to make sure I wasn't still on the radio. Aha, I am off the radio. Yeah, he don't care. Seriously, he doesn't. Um, I couldn't care less. Walls, see what it happened. Right. It's like the walls, Tim Walls' embellishments are like folksy to me, and I know it's wrong. And I like, and they say, oh, it's indicative of character. No, indicative of character is what you did to E. Jean Carroll in a in a in a department store dressing room. That's indicative of character. Yeah, Tim Walls to and probably I'm gonna tell you where this started. Tim Walls probably started this trying to impress somebody, a woman probably, and that's where he started at, and it took on a life from there. Yeah, but what you did to E. Jean Carroll in the Macy's dressing room, that's a sign of character. What you did to your wife while she was pregnant with a adult happy time film star, that's a judge of character. When you buy a Teen America, Miss Teen America pageant, so you can walk around in the back on teenager young ladies in various modes of dress, that's a judge of character. So don't come talking to me about Tim Walls, talking about he was in Tiananmen Square and he was just in Hong Kong that year, summer. No, not the same. Not the same. I should have brought up while talking about abortion and used the. You can. I'm gonna tell you. Everything I just heard, I just said, you all would have heard it if I was in a debate with JD Vance on that stage. I would have worked all of that in. Everything I'm talking about, I work in. I would have see. I thought he should have just leaned into the question about Tiananmen Square and said, "Yeah, I misspoke. I probably was trying to impress a woman." But let me tell you what I've never done to try to in cause to trying to impress a woman. I would have answered that question within seconds, and I would have been all over Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. I would say, but you know what I never did to try to impress a woman? I never made reference to some bigots attacking my wife and said, well, she's not white, but I love her anyway. I would have never cornered E. Jean Carroll in a um, department store dressing room and then proceeded to, um, yeah, I would have said it on national TV. Yep, all that. I'm telling you, every time I opened my mouth, you would have a viral moment on JD Vance. Doesn't respect women. They're intelligent. I would have mentioned Meg Kelly. He said that Meg Kelly was bleeding out her eyes and somewhere else. All you would have heard all of that. All that. It would have taken it. You all were with me. You all were following me, the debate with me. It would have took me 10 seconds tops to answer any question they asked me, and I would have spent the rest of my time dismantling JD Vance and Donald Trump. Yeah, Tyron, but that made him look nervous to us. That made us look nervous to us. When you dealing with people that don't, Vance and Trump are weak men's idea of strong men. Yeah, he was trying to look good for the camera. That was another thing. It was so obvious. He just didn't just go with it. He is because JD Vance was ugly when he was younger. JD Vance has had plastic surgery. You can look back at the picture and now look. Nothing wrong with plastic surgery. Nothing wrong with any. I feel like any augmentation you want to do to your body, that's your body. You do it. But it's funny to watch the insecurity associated with somebody like JD Vance that knows that all these pictures are in circulation of him. One thing people like, they talk about my beard, they talk about it. I've never been ugly. I've always had a big head, but I've never been ugly. I never thought I was ugly. I just, that is not any of it. I can shave all this off and it's good. But at the end of the day, it's interesting to watch people with insecurity that do things and how they look. Racism after what J.D. Vance said about Black America and his own wife. Right. That's why heard that. That is why I bring back old school bullying. For kids. It wouldn't be bullying. I don't call it bullying when you give the bullies what they have put out. I'm sorry. I don't. Mm-mm. I don't. It's not bullying. That's called being an agent of karma. And I remember I had this conversation about you with y'all before that we need to become agents of karma. Because Karma, she busy and she got a lot of people to get back. We need to step in and help. She thank us. Yeah, that maybe alleviate some of our own karma if we become agents of karma. Yeah, but all that, I would have gave JD Vance the business because at that point, that's all you want. Nobody who's voting for Kamala Harris and JD and TD and Tim Walz would have batted an eye. As a matter of fact, you probably would have heard some like, "Let's go." They would have been even. See, that's the thing. Charging up. That was the idea. You could have charged up your base. Because the first debate, that's what Trump did. He charged up his base. He wasn't trying to appeal to new voters. He was charging up his base. Tim Walz had the opportunity to charge up the base by lighting into JD Vance. Yo, you on your PC now? Lighting up JD Vance. Because who was going to be sitting around talking about Tim Walz's governing experience if he would have, if every question they would have asked him, he would have gave them the shortest answers in history and spent his, all they were going to say, you're 2 minutes up, Governor. They can't come back and say what the question was because I answered the question. What question did you all hear thought would have taken more than at most 30 seconds to answer? At most. And that at most, I'm cutting it down to 15 seconds because I'm speaking in shorthand. Respectability. Right, Tyra. That's a good point. That exactly. Respectability politics is what gets us lynched. It's respectability politics is what comes after Matthew Shepard, after Harvey Milk. They come after the fact. Then everybody wants to be respectable when politics have led to the death of a councilman that was openly gay and fighting for the LGBTQ community. Now you want to be respectable. When Matthew Shepard was literally, literally wrapped in wire. Now you want respectable. Yeah, fuck that. Nope, didn't start this fire. Didn't start this fire. You want respectable after Jasper, Texas. You want us to be respectable now. What was this respectability when Michael Bird was tied behind a vehicle and dragged for miles simply because of the color of his skin? Now you want me to be respected. Okay. They will respect my boxing skills. And then while you don't walk away and leave them bleeding on the ground because I'm gonna come by and put some lead in them. We're always conditioned by the oppressor to be respectable in the face of such disrespect. Welcome to the intolerable. Yes, that's it. Yeah, I'll let you have. Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'll be sitting there. It's like there's this movie, and one of my favorites. Yeah, this is going to sound horrible to some people, but one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the young actor that played Fred Hampton in the Black Jesus, right? The Black Judas and the Black Messiah, the one that played Fred Hampton. He's in the movie, and these are two of his enemies, right? And they have been talking shit. And they what they gonna do to him when they pulled up. So he walks in on them, and they rap. And he's like, and they stop because they see him, right? And he's like, oh no, don't stop. That sounds good. Let me hear that. Let me. He act like he all into it. They rapping and they going, and then he just pulls the gun out when one of them and shoots him right in the face. And then the other one's like, he said, "No, you can go. Take off. Get out of here." And as soon as he turns away, runs, shoots him right in the back of the head. I felt that in my being. Yeah, I know I'm a horrible person, but I felt that in my being because you brought that on yourself. You talking about what you're gonna do to me. You talking about what you're gonna do to me when you get the chance. I'm here. I'm here, and I'm not gonna talk about what I'm gonna do to you. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do because you have made your. If you were just talking trash about being a threat, I'm gonna treat you like your trash talking was reality, and that's how we should treat racists and bigots. Because you know, the minute they get the upper hand, it's gonna be you being carried by six of your friends. The minute they get the upper hand on you, it's gonna be you. That's why I used to beat the little racists up that came in, and it was like, oh, you by yourself. The rest of your brother is not here with you. I'm gonna beat your ass because I know if you and your brothers ever get together, you're gonna beat my ass. Not gonna lie, I felt that way the dad in the parasites. Yes, and I say too many times, not get throat. Don't get throat checked. Don't get throat checked. But you know, this is the thing. They will always test your gangster because too many people have allowed them to get away with it. Sorry, sorry. We know. That's the whole point. That's why I tell y'all y'all don't have to get involved in these people talking about me because that gives them. As long as they talking about me, that gives them something to do. But you know what you've never seen? You have never seen one of them pull up. You know, you've seen the police. They'll send the police. They'll SWAT, but they will never pull up. They will never pull up. They will put together a collage of videos thinking they own something. But you know what they do? They do not have the convictions of their stance because they know if they pull up, that means they took the chance. Then when am I the most dangerous? Not when I'm by myself, but when I'm by myself and my family is around. Because I consider that by myself because my family not gonna get a chance to fight. I am taking out everybody who pull up. And then we're going to then I'm going to use my shovel. Exactly. What's up, Jazzy? I see you. You late tonight. I see you. All right. So this weekend I got some good movies lined up for y'all. I don't know. I hope we'll get to all of them, depending on when y'all's schedule is free. I know we might. I might even take the chance. I might even take the time instead of doing with y'all Friday night. If nothing comes up, we'll do bootleg movie night marathon and in the place of the show. Or we got Agatha. Oh, hold on. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know. I got I got to see if the new episode of Agatha came in. Let's see how many new episodes of Agatha all along do I have. It was Agatha all along. If you haven't watched Agatha all along, it is worth it. Okay, we got Parallel. I got the Forever Purge that we haven't seen. Let me see what we're up to on Agatha all along. Oh, yeah, I'm watching Agatha all along tonight. Got two episodes. See, I have to watch them in like two episode series. So that way, if we do that, If I do the we'll do the show for like 30 minutes, and then at 10:30 we'll start bootleg movie night, and then we'll have longer because I know some of you all have to get up or you might be tired. So if we could do bootleg movie night Friday night starting at 10:30, if nothing, unless something major happens that we need to talk about, um, or we'll just do a wrap up, and then we'll go. What does the Craven movie come out? Craven Hunter. Let me see. Somebody Google it. Y'all. If anyone is looking for a good educational movie, I know a movie about. No, no, she does not. Do not ask Olivia what that movie is. Yes, I'm banning. I'm banning the word and those little curly things you just put in there. December 13th. All right, that's Craven. Do you know that Trump wants to start a purge if he doesn't win this election? I'm gonna tell you, just like the purge didn't go the way they thought it was gonna go, and forever purge. It's hard to have a purge when the people you're trying to purge is expecting you to want to have a purge. Yeah, it's about Craven's Last Hunt. Look, I'll watch it both here and see it. Oh yeah, I- I'm hoping it's good. I saw the previews; they look okay, but I already know I don't like the way I I don't know. I'm reserve opinion. I'm hoping because they have retconned the telling of Craven's story of how he got his abilities, and I'm hoping that they go back to the original way he got his abilities for the movie. I'm hoping they do that. I'm hoping. I'm down for a purge. I'm starting with MAGA and a specific man in Washington. Yeah, yeah. Messed around me, I'll be like, see, this is the thing with me. You talking about the purge? Let me show you about this is my leadership style. If I know the purge is coming, right, then I'm gonna know in advance, and I'm going to everywhere that people think they can hide, I'm gonna have it already laced with TNT. Well, not we're not gonna use TNT, but I can say plastic. We'll have it plastic. So when they go to their little hideout, thinking they getting away, I wait for all of them to get in their little hideout, in their little bunker, because I'm gonna start my purge the day after the last purge. So if it's yearly, whatever, I'm gonna start. So I'm gonna investigate. We're gonna infiltrate. We're gonna learn out where all these people that are gonna be safe, and we're wiring them. We're definitely taking plastic, and we're gonna have timers, and we're gonna have controls. And when they think they're gonna get ready to send the troops out for the purge, we're gonna take. I'm taking them out. I just want it to be symbolic. Yeah. They're gonna show up in our neighborhoods thinking they finna purge, and all the booby traps are gonna be in effect. They're gonna be like, "What happened?" They're gonna be in crossfires. We're gonna build little cannons, little funnels, but they done been funneled into a direction. And yeah, then yeah, what's up? All right, y'all. 11:45 um, on this Wednesday night. Thank you all for joining me, and y'all, y'all be good to each other. Practice a random act of kindness today or tomorrow. And I'll see you tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern.